Given that a regular meeting of the town of Laguna Vista, Texas will be held Tuesday, the 10th day of 2025 at 6 p.m. at the South Texas Ecotourism Center, Texas 100, Laguna Vista, Texas 78578. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.127, one or more members of the town council may attend and participate via video conference. A quorum of the town council will be physically present at the above meeting location. The body plans to be discussed. Call to order at 6:07. And pledge.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this time we have together to serve this community. We ask that you watch over this body, guide us in our decision making, and watch over this community. And we pray for the other parts of our nation and around the world that are suffering from strife and turmoil, and just ever reflect on the gratitude we have to live in such a wonderful and peaceful place as we are able to reside. So pray in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Councilmember Romero?
Here.
Councilmember Holland?
Yeah, here.
Councilmember Perez? Here. Councilmember Hernandez?
Here.
Councilmember Bryan? Here. Councilmember Hernandez?
Here.
Mayor Carter?
Here. Item 4, open forum. At this time, this pledge will last 2 minutes per person to address the council on topic. There will be no discussion of formal application during the agenda item. The speaker must identify themselves before speaking. The speaker request form must be presented.
None.
Item 5. 1. Recognition. Public recognition of Robin Duncan, Laguna Vista Rex.
Yes, Mayor and members of the council, it is a pleasure for me to present to you this Robin, because as you can tell by the newspaper article, copy of your packets, she's obviously a little famous resident of Laguna Vista, and so we felt that she needs to be, we felt that she needs to be recognized for her achievement. And I'm gonna this time ask her to say a couple of words so that she can actually tell us how she feels about that.
Thank you. I'm in the HIT, the Health Information Technology Program at GSTC. I've been in for 1 full semester. I'm in the summer semester right now. Back in February, one of my teachers invited me to participate in Skills USA, which is a nationwide competition in medical terminology, and we went to Skills. It was the state contest. We went to Skills in Corpus Christi, and I ended up winning first place. So now I have a chance to represent the state of Texas in Atlanta at nationals later this month.
This is a little token of appreciation.
Congratulations. Yeah, let's go photo, guys. Yeah. Be careful. Yeah, it's gonna be a blind over there.
Just keep walking.
Item six, consideration of possible action to approve the following minutes, May 13th, 2025, regular council meeting minutes, June 3rd, 2025, special council meeting minutes.
Corrections. Yes, thank you. I make a motion to accept the minutes from the May 13th, 2025 meeting and the June 3rd, 2025 meeting.
Second motion. Motion by Councilor Bryan, second by Councilor Hernandez to approve the minutes of May 13th, 2025, and June 3rd, 2025.
Councilmember Romero,
Yes.
Councilmember Howard. Yes. Councilmember Perez.
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Yes. Item seven, presentation of financial report for period ending May 31st, 2025.
Mayor and members of the council, under the circumstances, because of the transition we're going through with our financial structure, we were hoping to have the financial report for you, but we really can't because there's so many things that we need to and I review before we put anything in writing review on. So at this point, we ask that you please consider tabling the item.
Right forward.
Oh, that's it.
This is make no action on it.
No, actually, we just move on.
Just pass on by this. Okay. Okay, item eight, presentation and discussion of Tanglewood Apartments being constructed by the Cameron County Housing Authority.
This room here with us, the contractor, who asked to be placed on the agenda so that he could, inform the council and the community as to the progress and what they're doing with the complex, which, as everybody understands, is being demolished and now it's going to be constructed brand new. Sir?
Do I just got here?
You can come up here, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, council members for having us. My name is Ramiro Gonzalez, and I represent Olivo Works. We're a design build firm in Brownsville. And we really believe part of our mission is to improve every community that we work in. We do a lot of work in our own community, Brownsville, but obviously, we do have work from Austin all the way down to Laguna Vista, all the way to Laredo. So, we have, as far as other projects of this similar size, we've worked with the Brownsville Housing Authority on 2 projects, 2 successful projects of the same magnitude. We're currently working on a third one with the Brownsville Housing Authority, which is the El Jardín Hotel in downtown Brownsville. So that's about almost complete, and so we're very proud of the work that we do. Here is just another example of what we're bringing to Laguna Vista. As you all know, we've pretty much wrapped up the demolition of these apartments. The initial scope of the apartments was a remodel. But once we did as much work as we could with some of them were still habited, and so once we started to do the demolition, the engineers came back out and basically said, these buildings are just way beyond their lifetime. We can't really fix this anymore. So the decision by the housing authority was made to just completely demo the whole project, or demo the apartments, and basically rebuild new. As you can see here, you can just kind of click. Yeah, so this is kind of the site plan. I'm sure everybody's familiar with it. And so it's basically, we're replacing like for like. So it's a $5 million investment. It was 48 units when we started. Before it was demoed, it's going to be 48 units when we are complete. So these are the pictures of the way it was. And this is this is the proposal of the way it will be. As you can see, very similar in scale, trying to bring some of that coastal feel to it, and really improve, really bring something special to the community. That's just another rendering of one of the sides. I think we have an internal courtyard. Yeah, so that's what it would look like inside. And I think there's one last one. So you can see it's continuity, it's brand new. There's a little bit of pop of color. All the AC units will be covered. That's kind of an addition that we put in there. And we also suggested that they accepted those aluminum louvers, that you see across the coast. So we're really excited for it. We're hoping to be under construction probably next month. If not, more than likely August. And I believe it'll be probably about a 9-month project for this to be complete. I'm here to answer any questions, concerns. If there are any, feel free to call me. Mr. Brady knows how to get a hold of me, and we look forward to bringing this product to the community. Any questions?
Yes.
I know there was a pool and a clubhouse, is that still gonna exist, or?
So that is not, no, that is not part of the plan. The clubhouse was actually demolished, the existing clubhouse. It's our understanding, it's not a part of this scope, but there will be the Cameron County Housing Authority wants to bring a phase 2 of this project. So more units, and that's where we'll have brand new clubhouse and, all the amenities. And so we have not started work on that, they have not started work on that. They just kind of want to get this kind of on the road, and then work on a phase 2.
As, I don't know, I remember years ago when they were talking about doing this project, it's been many years they've been planning on doing it like this, so it's nice that it's finally.
I know, I drove down the street and I completely forgot about the demolition, and I was like, wait, somebody's sitting there, there's like no apartments. And you can see like right to the highway, and I was like, weird.
Yeah, it's exciting, we always like to build a new project, and we do, like I said, it was delayed, we started demo, we stopped demo, then it was a decision making on whether, do we demo or do we decide, do we start new? And so all that took about 3 to 4 months, and then you started the demo again. But we're here, we're available, any questions or concerns or anything that's asked, when we do start building, please let us know, and we always have a project manager on site. So he will relay any issues to us, and we'll handle them as quick as possible.
The only thing that I would request, which I talked to Conrad about, also is that you guys keep a really clean site.
Sure.
Because the wind blows really hard off of that area, because there's nothing blocking the wind.
Yeah.
And it'll just go into the neighborhood. And when you guys were demoing, I got lots of complaints about the dust, but I was like, you can't do anything about the dust, I'm just like, but you guys can do stuff about plastic blowing and Tyvek blowing and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, absolutely, we'll keep our project manager on it.
I appreciate it.
Question, I do have, is there a question? I do understand that you are going to be using the existing foundations.
Yeah, so the engineers, says the existing foundations were in good order. It was really the structure that had, over the years, as they, the roots weren't prepared, the water infiltration, just the structure. There was nothing wrong with the foundation. foundation, the structure was the problem.
Just for the process, we need, a letter from the engineer basically indicating that.
Yeah, we have those letters, you all get them over to Doobie or yourself. We submitted the permit, but if there's anything you need, we should have.
Thank you,
So,
appreciate that.
yeah.
Thank you again for coming and informing all of us of what's going on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
All right, our next big one, discussion of possible action on approval of Sunbreeze subdivision.
Yes, we have also the engineer for the development, Mr. Lasso, and he's here to go ahead and make a presentation. Just to give you a little background history, sometime way back then, this council actually approved this, but we've gone back, and the developers, and especially Mr. Lasso, has worked very closely, not only with the administration, but the planning and zoning board, in going beyond what is required in terms of the development, so that obviously can be approved by the city, the town, and the planning and zoning board did the preliminary approval, and at the last meeting, they did the final approval, just with the caveat that there were a couple of things that Mr. Larson would get together with the city engineer, Mr. Guzman, and as long as those 2-3 items were taken care of, that's how they applied it, that it was approved for final approval, so that it would be brought to you for your review and hopefully also final approval.
Thank you very much, Mr. Trevino. For the record, I'm George Lasso with Boca Engineers, and Mayor, City Councilman, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and give you a status as to where we're at on this project. I really want to thank our chairman for the planning and zoning, and of course his members, city staff, and of course you all for getting the subdivision to this point. Like Mr. Trevino indicated, we did a lot of workshopping over a series of meetings with the planning and zoning, and special requests were made, and of course our developer was ready and took a stand to meet those requirements. One of the things that we're doing is we're going to be allocating a triangular type area where we have those signs just south of the drainage that's going to be allocated for the city's use as part of the final planning process. The other thing, Mr. Chairman, from the planning zone, give real good suggestions that we've implemented for safety concerns, like giving us enough space on those entrance gates and giving us enough room for as a turning radius for fire department trucks coming in. So all of that was done. I had a chance to meet with or speak with Mr. Guzman, no, it's not Guzman, Munoz. Joe Munoz as of this afternoon, and we've been addressing, like he indicates, everything is very doable, and we're on our way to do it. One of the last things that we really need to do, and we still keep on working with that, is that the water that's going to be coming off the development, as requested by the planning department, we're going to put in a detention pond to be able to hold that water before we discharge into the ditch, just to make sure that we don't overwhelm that ditch that flows into the Laguna Madre and that flows under the FM road and so on. This is a continuous project that started with another engineer, it started with another developer, but because of financial situations, maybe the previous developer, it could not bring the project into fruition, so our developer has taken over. As part of that, the past developer and engineer worked very diligently with the U.S. Corps of Engineers, because you need a special permit to discharge that water into that ditch. And the U.S. Corps of Engineers allocated 1 point of discharge. So that's the permit we have now. Our office continues dialogue with the U.S. Corps of Engineers office, and we're still trying to determine the feasibility of having 2 discharge points rather than one. And of course, I spoke to Jose Munoz about it. And until we are able to determine we can have 2 points of discharge, at that point, then we can properly evaluate the drainage report. Right now, the drainage report we have is only for 1 discharge point, but we're all in agreement that if we can get 2 discharge points, that's gonna be the best option. So as of this afternoon with Joe, he indicates that everything's doable. As far as the timeline, one of the things that our developer was anticipating was having some kind of conditional approval from the planning and zoning so that he could take it on to financing. So after that was done, that's already in motion. As of this afternoon, the report that I got from our developing team is that we're probably 60 to 90 days away from approval, because this is gonna be like a $7 million investment in that. So we're gonna keep on working closely with Joe, we're gonna keep on working closely with the water district to have all of that in place. So hopefully within 60 to 90 days, we can get to the point where we can turn some dirt and get this project into construction. Just as a summary as to what we're planning on doing, it's a development of almost 56 acres. And is that piece of property right across from the stripe where the FM and Highway 100 come together. It's, in the end, it's gonna be 140 lots. About 8 of those are gonna be commercial cuts, the remaining are gonna be single-family homes. It's gonna be a gated community, and the houses are gonna start in the price range of about $500,000. And my developer wanted me to just express thanks to everybody that's here, to the community of Laguna Vista for opening your arms and working with us. And we look to having a good project for you all that everybody can be proud of. That's my presentation for today, unless anybody has any questions for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys don't mind, I would like.
Yeah.
Stanley to come up and give his assessment of the.
Our assessment of this, and we're glad that this second developer took it over. In a big sense of the word, they came in and said that we're gonna try to make whatever we can to make this happen. As you all know, we don't have a water detention requirement in our ordinances, but as I came back to them and actually showed them a way to improve the subdivision, add lots and save money, they said, good, now we can give that space for water detention. The other side of that is they're going back for 2 discharge points. Anybody understands that with 1 discharge point, that's a big pipe. That means all the pipes in the subdivision have to be oversized from what we normally expect. With that 1 single discharge, when it blows across that ditch, it's gonna actually blow the other side of the ditch away. It'll actually dig it out. There'll be too much water coming through. So we requested, hey, let's put in 2 water detention facilities and 2 discharge points. That's gonna minimize and actually make the pipes smaller, make a smaller amount of water coming into that ditch at 2 points instead of 1 in a big single position. And it'll be better for the environment, it's better for the developers, better for cost, and easier to put in. So that's what we're hoping they're gonna get back from the Corps of Engineers to allow that to happen. I will say they did step up, they met everything that we asked for in the Planning and Zoning Committee. So we're excited that they finally did that, compared to the previous developer who didn't want to budge from anything that he had. So we're happy for that. And I just did want to think of one other thing. When you make your discharge, go at a 45-degree angle into the ditch.
We can do that.
And I say that from experience, because I had BISD came to me with a problem, we had to fix that. And it was the water going into the ditch. The water was going so fast, coming down the ditch, it actually pushed back into the pipe and went back into their detention facility. So it went backwards. So if you put it in a 45, it's the same direction. It's the same direction. It takes it out of the canal instead of pushing it back in to the detention pump. So that's my assessment of it. I think they're doing a good job for us. And it's starting to happen.
My only question on that would be, with the single pipe and with Mesquite and David Cuervo, with the yards that back up into that area,
Yeah,
right? Will those houses be safe
that's
from additional water runoff?
that's the idea of the detention facility. In other words, detention means it's gonna hold the water back and take it to go into the ditch at a slower pace. So it may rain in an hour, we get 5 inches of rain, then it's gonna percolate into the ground first, because it's grass. Then it'll come out at a 1 inch rate, not 4 inches all at once.
Yeah.
That's the intent of water retention. So we've got that, and I feel a lot more comfortable about it. Especially if we get 2 water detention facilities in that exit. So you got 2 exits, instead of 1 huge pond, you got 2 smaller ponds.
Like I say, like, the concern of the people that live in that neighborhood, right, or that they're gonna get flooded out.
Right.
I mean, it's just, and then people call me, they're like, this is what we're worried about, Mike. And so that's, I just ask that to ensure that that thing is angled towards the highway. Like, that water better run towards the highway, or else we got a problem.
And that was part of the equation. In other words, we know how much capacity of the pipes, there's 2 pipes under the road, under 510. And when they only carry so much water. So we wanted to slow that water down so it doesn't overload those 2 pipes and it backs up even in there. The other side of the equation, on the other side, adjoining the lots that adjoin the property on the backside, he's ensuring, and our city engineer is also checking with that to make sure that everything drains downhill so that we're not flooding the existing homes in their backyard.
Yeah.
So everything's going downhill all the way out to the ditch, and it'll be picked up by the drainage system that they're putting in. So that's why we're comfortable with the whole program. Yeah, so we took a close look at that one, and as you say, our final address from our city engineer, Jose Munoz, will give us the final say on that. And that's our, and like I said, we gave a conditional approval with those 2 caveats in mind, that they meet the engineer's requirements as well. Our engineer.
So at this point, as far as approval, once we get the letter from the engineer, I mean, that he's reviewing everything.
We could do the same thing, we could do the same thing that we did as a plan, it's only approve it subject to final approval from Guzman, because he has to approve our plans and specifications before any construction gets done.
Yeah, I'm more comfortable waiting for approval from your final approval, their final approval. And
Well, what that does is it pulls back our financing.
I understand that, but I also don't wanna put the cart in front of the horse, okay, and if what you're trying to do does not get approved, and we approve it.
Well, the way it would work is, it would be conditional based on your city engineer, and it's pretty standard protocol. We're not gonna get anything done until your engineer reviews it and maybe works with you, but we will not turn any dirt whatsoever.
We don't have any opinions on it.
Well, I think if you utilize the verbiage, I think it'll be fine on condition. Because whether Mr. Jose, right, he has to approve it, so based on what we approve, so Mr. Trino would have to just make sure that he's aware of.
And if I may, we've seen conditional approval with other municipalities. So conditional approval is an item that works and can be enforced. In other words, if they don't meet our requirements, then they're rejected.
It never gets constructed.
Right. So they do need to meet those conditional approval upon reaching those milestones.
So planning and zoning is okay with all that?
Yes, sir.
And that timeframe for, my apologies, the timeframe for approval is anticipated to be.
Probably within 60 to 90 days. 60 to 90 days, because we need to have our final call from the US Corps of Engineers so that we can finalize our draining, and I spoke to Mr. Munoz about it. And then, of course, we need to have they're not gonna give us any financing from the bank unless we have that document from the cities, everything's approved, so we can start construction. That's why I'm suggesting a conditional.
No, I understand. Teresa?
I'm just wondering if everyone on the council has seen the plans for this subdivision
Does not.
But
It's not the same as the last time.
that,
It's similar.
we've seen, I was not looking.
The makeup.
We don't have that today.
And so I wasn't sure if,
The only difference is gonna be the retention ponds.
Right.
And so, and where those.
That's the major difference.
Yeah, exactly.
The other one is, we actually he had the gates too close to Mesquite, too close to 510, and too close to 100.
Yeah.
He had to move those gates in so you can park a semi truck off the road before you get to the gate.
For safety concerns.
Yeah, for safety concerns. If somebody's coming delivering furniture,
Yeah.
something of that nature, garbage trucks, whatever they are, we don't want them on 510, especially in the morning, backing up traffic. So we asked them to move that in. That's number one. Number two is the drainage that we just spoke about. Number three is he had some radiuses that were hairpin turns. Essentially, the code says 25-foot radius to make a corner. I asked him to make them 50 feet because you couldn't get a semi truck again around that corner because it came back at a severe angle. It was up and then down. So to make it,
You're gonna get something stuck there.
give us a big enough circle so that semi truck can come around and get out of there. And I think fire trucks as well is one of the reasons. What was the other ones? The other ones was, I actually showed him how to take out a street.
That's right.
They took out a street that made the lots bigger. He actually gained, what, three additional lots? And with that, the developer automatically said, I'll give you the detention pond. You just saved me a bunch of money.
And he was present,
So-
and he made the commitment to the
Right.
plan and so on.
So that was a big
When it
bonus.
comes to the street width, is the street width gonna be wide enough to where we can have a car parked on the street and an emergency vehicle going by?
Yeah, it's a standard residential street size, so it's a 30-foot wide street. The whole thing was that taking out that street, he had the front street and the backyard facing another street, and the same thing, the next one over. Take it out, you want to double load a street, in other words, it costs less money, you want houses on both sides of your street, not just one side. So that helped him come to a solution.
A little expensive.
So, and the other thought was, and the reason they're pursuing aggressively that second detention pond is the fact that if they can make the pipe smaller, that's a lot less
It
costly.
saves money.
So he can put some more money into embellishing the subdivision. Last point, and is something we might further resolve, is many of the homes that are adjoining the subdivision already on Mesquite and then on the little cul-de-sacs, some have set fences, some don't, some have poor fences, they're gonna put a fence in. And the question becomes, do we put a different fence for every house that's there, or do we put a single fence and then ask the residents to take out their fence? We don't want two fences a foot apart, because then we just got an area for rodents. And for grass that nobody's gonna cut. So that's a little idea that we need to figure out.
I've seen that problem. I can show you the solution to that problem.
And my developer has committed that he'll work with city staff and you all and the planning and zoning to make sure that whatever fence goes up is something of everybody's liking.
One other point, I don't know, you mentioned it, the sign for Laguna Vista at that corner is actually on their property.
Yes, it is.
And so they've been saying once this approval goes through, they will be, whether it be needing whether it's an easement or that outright transfer, that area where the sign is would become under the control of ownership of the city. So that's.
And one more other thing is that I know that me and Mr. Trevino will visit that site and there might be some additional space that the city may need. And I talked to my developer about it, and maybe as we go forward, we can, some of those smaller lots that back up to the existing property, we may be able to turn that over to the city so that you can have more space.
That's where we have the fire station.
Yeah, and so.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that,
And we could do that as the final planning part of it.
which would give us space to be able to have a warehouse for maintenance, basically.
where within the development is the retention pond slated to be placed?
The place where we have now is gonna be on the south, near the southeast border of the development. And there's a pretty big, commercial area that sits there. We're gonna cut up into that area. And it's gonna be about 300 by 300. That's why we like the idea that if we can have two smaller ponds, then that narrows it down and we have a balance. Probably like from starting on Mesquite about a third of the way and then another third of the way as you get to Highway 100. That'll balance the flow coming out into the.
Might be an easier way to explain it. He's got, what, 8 commercial lots facing 100 and running along the canal. And I think it's the second, coming from the corner of 510 and 100, the second lot in is where the detention pond would be along that property line. Then it's the 4th or 5th lot, we're gonna do it again.
Exactly.
So it goes between those to the canal. So it goes between the commercial lots.
The other thing is we are gonna need a bridge to go across that ditch. And again, my developer, one of the partners is a registered architect.
Yeah.
And we committed to having a rendering of the bridge and have it approved by you all before we go into construction. Because we wanna make sure everybody's.
And that's also like a text dot.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
every GLO probably, everything else going across
But
that ticket.
we just want the community to be happy with the
Yeah,
development.
completely. I was wondering how you're gonna get across that ditch, so.
One other additional question that I.
Yes, sir.
had is, the entrance off of 510, where will that be as far as relationship to the light there? Just because of the traffic accumulation that happens.
We've already talked it over with TxDOT.
Uh-huh.
And you need to have certain site distances, so we're meeting the TxDOT requirement. The entrance is gonna be closer to that elevated storage tank that you have, giving us as much distance as we can away from the intersection of the FM and Highway 100. But that needs to be, we need to have that approved by TxDOT, and we've already gone through that process.
And then just.
It's about halfway.
Yeah, not directly across.
No.
It's like halfway from the fire station to the corner. For lack of a better way to say it. It might be 60-40,
But close to the water tower than it is to the highway.
Exactly, it needs to be for safety purposes.
but yeah, more cars that can back up from the red line.
I have a question that has to do with the text dot. I know that I had mentioned it to you. It may not be something you can answer, but with the subdivision going in across the street and your subdivision, have we started talking to text dot? Maybe we need a left turn lane,
We've done our talking.
Yes.
Now, I don't know where the other subdivision is in their approval process, but we're separate developers. But as far as us, TxDOT's open to work with our design that we have at this time.
Okay, I'm just thinking that if we don't have a left-hand turn lane there, traffic's gonna back up both ways.
And I've had meetings with TxDOT, and they plan on eventually bringing the 510 development right all the way down into Laguna Vista, okay? And to widen 510, starting at the city limits and making a turn lane all the way through. I mean, that's very early on. It's gonna be a while before it ever happens, if hopefully they do it, but was the original plan from the top guys from TxDOT. So hopefully they get that done. It would really help out town, you know? It's only getting busier.
Yeah, and in reference to the second subdivision, they have to go to planning and zoning because to the Board of Adjustment, because they've asked for 5 items that are outside of our codes. They don't need it. So they're in limbo.
Stay tuned for that.
So on this project, did you guys already submit like the, kind of like, what is it gonna look like? Or just that?
No, that's not even that.
I'm not trying to.
No, that's not even that.
That's all of it. I thought you were talking about something else. I'm so sorry.
The council has seen.
No.
No, the last time that they came, they showed, I think from then till now, you take out a street, you've got a couple retention ponds.
Right.
So maybe move an entrance. So maybe you can send us a new,
Like there's a picture.
kind of a new rendering of.
We would be glad,
You know,
we'd be
just
glad,
so,
we'd glad to do that.
just like, just so we can all be aware, people ask us, we know what we're talking about.
We could set a PDF version of what was
Just
approved,
email it over.
what was conditionally approved by the planning and zoning, we could send it to Mr. Trevino, and then he of course can share it with everybody here.
Exactly. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Sunbreeze subdivision with the condition of
Stanford.
Conditional approval.
that Mr.
That
Sanford
they
approves
will
it.
meet engineering requirements of the city engineer and the city.
Can you get that?
With the condition of the approval of the city engineer.
City engineer.
There were
City engineer, yes.
The requirements of the city engineer? Is that what you said?
City engineer and city code.
And city.
You read it backwards? Really quick? Just so we know what we wrote down. This is an important
The
one.
motion was made by Ms. Council Howard, with the condition of approval of Mr. Holmes.
With the city engineer.
The city engineer.
I wrote agree with the condition of the approval that meets the requirement of the city engineer and the city code.
You there with that one? Okay. No, that's fine. I want to make sure that we document the right way. Okay.
Yes.
That's all. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Councilmember Howard, seconded by Councilmember Dr. Romero to approve the Sunbreeze subdivision with prior approval from the engineer and city government.
Councilmember Romero,
Yes.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Perez. Yes. Councilmember Cornelius,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Carlos.
Yes. Thank you, guys, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Before I leave, I'm gonna be getting together with Mr. Trevino. There's a funding opportunity that just came up on Friday where this community could benefit up to $20 million grant that could be used for EOC purposes, emergency operations, drainage, things like that, that was put out by the Trump administration. And it's first come, first served. So next meeting, I'll work with Mr. Trevino to try to bring that item so you all could I could present it officially and see if you all are willing to maybe support it.
Sounds like a good idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you, Mr. Noel, for your best.
Thank you.
Item 10, update report on the renovation of portable building to be used as a town hall and municipal court.
And that, members of the council, we have Stanford Knowles, who is the architect for that project. And I think he's ready to at least show preliminary, progress on the building that would be used for the town hall, at this time.
Council members, mayor, I want to say Victor's good, but he pushes it. This is a day, one day of work, okay? Maybe a day and a half. But we went and looked at the buildings, there were two portables, decided to keep one, sell the other. This is the one that's behind the Point Isabel Administration Building. And it comes with a covered walkway, which is nice, we'll be able to reuse that. And what I show is, where City's Hall is right here, and Rollout Park. This is 510, I'm sorry, 510 at Rizal and Fernandez. Entering off of Fernandez, I came up with 22 parking stalls, I got enough room to save the mesquite tree.
Nice.
And if we want to do another sculpture opportunity, I call it the dead one in here in the corner. But we also can improve the alley And right now it needs to be repaid for this portion. Maybe part of that comes from the condo association because they utilize it every day and they, actually are, this line right here shows where their carport is, and it's right on the property line.
Oh, wow.
So it's not really compliant, of course, it's grandfathered, so they should in some sense work with us, in some sense of the word. This is an opportunity for 12 parking stalls off the alley. Those might be for, city vehicles, various employees or police vehicles, whatever it may be. This would be for the public, with 20 parking stalls, 2 handicap stalls. What I did was I took a sidewalk to share on both. Normally you'd see a sidewalk over here, but that's an attempt to have it budget-wise friendly. We can have a single sidewalk. This will be a ramp to come up because the building is 2 feet off the ground. Since it's a portable, it's a wooden floor. So it would have a ramp that comes up here to a landing and up. Well, it's actually a down, I'm showing it down, but the up to here, and then the entrance. This could be that covered canopy. This would be the meeting room, restroom, conference room, and this is an L-shaped room, which would be the office. This would be a handicap window opening so that instead of trying to make it one high and one low, it's this small facility. I thought I'd make it all counter height, which is desk height, so it meets handicap, and you'll see that in the next drawing. And of course, all the rest of this is a grass area. And if we can show the next drawing, on the next one, next slide. This is what I intend to do, and this is just an idea, it's not complete, you'll see further on what I'm doing. Actually, you have the other plan, this is the plan for the floor plan for the building. Now, ironically, this room is about the same size as this room right here. It's 25 feet by 45. This is probably close to 45, it might be 40, okay? I got the arrangement different because I was looking at raising this up 6 inches since we have a court here as well. So we have a raised floor. We've done this in the past. I've got our 6 councilmen. I've got the city manager and the mayor. I forgot I guess the attorney can sit in the audience. I'll fix that.
Need the attorney.
He's not here, he can't complain. This is tight seating for 80. Now, if you go into a theater setting, they'll tell you, you can put these chairs from back to back 36 inches, so you can walk in. You've got these at about 4 feet instead of 3 feet. So this might be 50, if you want to be more comfortable. So I've already got that laid out, figured out. This line right here, and this over here is actually where our windows are, our door is. This is raised up to give it a better look on the inside. There's a ADA restroom, here's our entrance into the office. Here's that countertop and a reception window for doing business, a desk, and then a rear exit. Conference room would be for council to have your executive sessions. So you do that in the same building, in the same area. And of course, as I explained, here's our walkway and a ramp down out to the parking lot sidewalk. I think this is the next one, please. This is a section that shows you the idea. This is a classroom, it's actually a portable building. And found these online, and like I said, I wanted to show this because there's a beam down the middle of that building right now. It's a truss that carries a hip roof, or gable roof, I should say. And that from this one portion, not to do the whole building, but to take it, this portion and continue up, I can get what was called a clear story window. That gives it more light, raises the ceiling because it's only 8 feet. You've been in the portables, you know how small they are and how tight they are. So we can raise that ceiling up, and my intent would be again to take what's right now suspended ceilings down here, take that out, insulate this up here, push that ceiling up the bottom of the rafters, and then run an air conditioned duct that's open. So again, we get more volume in the space because they feel cramped. Like, see the next one, please. There's the elevation. This is the backside. You can see that slope is going up And this is, we're only gonna do that from here to here. And this is, you know, this is the office area, this is the community room all the way here, and the, elevated area for the council members. And the operations theater for municipal court is on that side. That's the idea of how it would look coming off, and you can see our ramps and comes down, makes it corner, comes out. Take that next, please. And this is an idea of how it might look. I'm not going to expose it, means I'll be underneath it. But that actually shows that this is oversized, largely for sale, but this is just an idea, so you get a good idea of what we're trying to achieve. And here again are the windows up above. Next one. Next one, that's the way there. Just another example of how that might look. Because where we had the offices, we're going to keep the existing gable roof. And so we don't have to raise that up. There's another one. Yeah, this is the end. This will be facing the street, Santa Isabel. This is a section through it. It shows where that counter is, and we got the 3 windows to come to the office. I'm stepping ahead of what Victor and I spoke about in this respect, but I think this is what we've done before. We did this for the tax office, for the Cameron County Tax Office in Southwest last year. We finished that project. So we're picking up on those. This would be facing the alley with that door exiting to the outside. I think I have one more. Yeah, and again, this is just another idea of how that section might work. We're not doing the blue lamp beams that are shown in this picture. Our beam actually runs this way. Are there any questions? If I go back to the floor plan, which is like the first one, second one. There. Any questions on that?
I have a question.
Teresa?
Yes.
First of all, great job. I've actually seen that building, so if we can make it look like that and follow. That will look amazing. My question actually has to do, I think, with the picture right before that.
The site plan?
The site plan.
Okay.
And
Back there.
those 12 parking stalls that are gonna be, here's the condos where they park. What, are they gonna feel like, oh, we've got more parking now?
No, I actually went up and measured it. If you can see this line right here, that's the existing pavement,
Right.
okay? There's a couple of big holes right here and over here, and the entrance right here is messed up pretty good. We would be taking this entrance and making it wider. They would have this will have signs on it. We'll give a letter to everybody in the condominium, I would expect, so that they know, where they.
Okay, they gave us that parking.
Yeah, where they can't do whatever. But beyond that, this may actually be something we looked at as a budgetary item anyway. Right now, right now, this parking lot by itself could approach $100,000.
Wow. So those 12 stalls might not happen anyway.
They may not have until the future. I'll keep budget in mind. We're gonna tie down a budget for this. And as I'm looking at the building, we have some dramatic savings because we have an existing building. But we still have to we have to fix the floor, we gotta change the roof, we gotta replace the roof. And then we gotta decide is what we might do. This wall and this wall being public, in the public view, we want to improve those. This wall on the back side and back here can remain the same wall as it is. So we get to budget-wise, be conscious about budget and do some savings there. But to even get it insulated properly, we've got a lot of work to do. So.
Thank you.
current plan for the use of this beyond the meeting space? I know we had had conversations before about police departments. What would that additional office space utilize from?
It's gonna be municipal court's gonna be held there, and that's where they'll, that's where the municipal court, clerk will be filing and all that kind of stuff. Big payments.
And by moving the current, conference room, that will be now for the police department, which will double the size of the current police space.
Yeah, once this was finished, then we go back and remodel the existing building.
And the other thing too, obviously, the budget is going to, we're gonna make sure that we have enough money for both. But the parking lot, even though it's expensive, besides serving this building, one of the problems that we have with the park is the overflow of parking that is needed, and this will provide additional parking spaces.
But it serves, the parking serves dual purpose.
Unless someone's got $5 million, we'll build a whole thing like that. We don't get $5 million.
We just need that $20 million.
We did ask our grant writer to look, Victor and I together asked him to pursue other grants.
Yes.
And maybe the developer here would like to look at something else.
Yeah, we would love to do a pre-meta type city hall right now, so that would be really nice. Have they got funding, but they certainly did. Any other questions? Thank you, Stanford.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will let the city manager's report.
It was in transition with the computer. I'll try to be brief, since we've been doing a lot of discussion for you all. And please stop me at anywhere, if you have questions, anything, please. Starting with the status of ongoing grant projects, as I have reported preliminarily at the last meeting on each one. Since then, for example, in the comprehensive plan, we're still waiting on grant works to schedule an on-site meeting to move forward. Obviously, the grants approve and everything, but we will not let it start until they come down and we meet with them and get started on the right foot. The same thing with the CDBG street improvements. Grant Works also has a contract and they need to come down for that project as well. Expansion of the fire station that's being, as you all know, is being done with ARPA funds. That was what was bidded out at this time. What was it wasn't the construction, it was to select an architect, to be able to design the structures which then would be constructed, the construction of the additional stalls for the fire station. We didn't receive any of those proposals, so consequently now, we're gonna be talking to the funding agency about, do we have, the fact that we didn't get any proposals, could we try and negotiate with our existing architect, which in essence would be Mr. Knowles. If not, then we'll have to not rebid, it's not a rebid, it's an RFQ, so that we can get that professional service award. And of course, then is when they will be signed it and then we can put it up for bids. The greatest project, which as from a previous report, that's been really one of the most difficult projects so far. we finally had the on-site, committee, both Cameron Works and I, as the project engineer, did come down. And so we had a very productive, very, meeting. And, what's gonna happen now is that we are going to, together with the engineers, we're gonna have to come up with a couple of options for the council to consider. And subsequently, everything would have to still be approved by GLO, which would be a significant amendment to the project. And what would happen is that either we figure out, because we only received one a bid the last time, but we're not very comfortable also with the fact that, by going that route, the ditches that are going to be approved, and as you all may be aware, the ditches that we have, are really, really nice because, the owners, they maintain them. And so when you come in and dig them out and everything, no matter what you try, how hard you try, they're not gonna be even, they're gonna not leave them in the same condition. Contractors will tell you, yes, we will, but once they finish, they leave, and we're the ones that are left with the problem. So another option is, as I discussed before, is probably to try and do it in-house, even though it'll take more time, but then we have control, and we can do it slow, and making sure that we do the best possible job. Because at the end, this drainage improvement project has boiled down to improving the ditches. Really, that's all we're gonna do. So that's where we're at, and then also, as part of this, is that we're still having to answer the GMO monitoring review. And I got, I got more information. I'm working with GMO directly in terms of exactly what is they need in order to clear us of the two findings. And so, and we have until the 27th to submit that response in writing. So we still got time for doing that. On the park, again, similar situation, although this is not with Brentworks, this is with a consultant, an individual by the name of Alexander, and we were actually lucky that we have Mr. Knowles as architect for the project. But essentially, when we met, and I think actually a couple of the council people, we met together with Ms. Alexander and with Stanford. And we have walked the project, we have looked at everything, and frankly, we're really almost gonna have to start from scratch as far as what needs to be done. It's just not, the project as it stands right now, we do it that way, one is very expensive, and two, it's not gonna be something that the community is gonna really like, because it doesn't provide that. That's why we're basically starting all over. And we obviously are being contacted with Texas Parks and Wildlife, so that as we move through this, they're aware and that we're not gonna run into obstacles for them. We'll do it according to their advice and things like that, so that they can approve that eventual amendment to the grant. Which I think we will have, actually, we're gonna have some more public meetings with people that are interested, so they can see, in fact, what we're gonna do with the park. And so that's where that is. So that takes care of the projects, grants. And the next move is just status of ongoing tasks. As you all know, we're advertising, soliciting applications for the position of city secretary. At this point, we have had 3 people requesting copies of the job description. 2 of them have submitted their resumes. The way I'm seeing it is, I think we're gonna have even more applicants for this, so we're gonna have a good pool to choose from, to select for somebody, somebody very well qualified. The website, as you all approved that at the last meeting, that's moving according to schedule. And we look forward to, we certainly would like for the new website to kick in, I know later than the 1st of July. 1, to have it, and 2, because then we can start paying for the old one, which is a good chunk of money every month. IT proposals, today we have received 2 proposals, but, from what I understand, we'll probably get another couple more. And then it's also gonna provide the city with quality, consistent and affordable, IT service, which is something that we have been lacking. So that's moving went very well as well. We have it's not our direct responsibility, but we do have a wastewater collection system repairs, which is obviously being done by the Laguna Madre Water District. What happened is that infrastructure breaks, you can't control it. But in this particular case, which is at the intersection of those two streets, Home and Taylor, the more they started going there to fix the problem, the problem kept expanding and it's still expanding. And that's why you go there, it's a big, well, now we covered it, but first it was a big old sinkhole. And so there's, as a matter of fact, we're meeting tomorrow, again, tomorrow, Thursday, because they now found that now the problem is going in the other direction, which is gonna be between 2 residents, and those 2 residents are the most impacted. And so we are there with them to tell them, look, we're sorry, you know, whatever we could do to help you with everything, because I mean, it's something that happens, but it's no consolation for them. And so we're doing everything we can to at least make them feel that we care. And but again, this is something that's being done by the Laguna Madre Water District.
Has the watershed given you guys a timeline?
Well, we had it, it was gonna be the end, but like, they just contacted us today that we're gonna have a meeting on site tomorrow or Thursday because of this new, more problems with the same line. And so we're just having to deal with.
Do they have water?
Oh, no, yes, this is the sewer.
Oh,
The sewer line. And the last thing we also wanna do, we can't just simply stop it because you don't want raw sewer, and so we should go over the place, so it has to be repaired. The Fourth of July celebration, which obviously is on schedule, we have Council people Brian and Perez who are working with the staff in planning it out, and everything will be ready before the event, so we're looking forward to that event. I think it's gonna be, well, it's always very good for the community, but we're gonna try and make it even better for everyone concerned. And obviously, as you may recall, we have some upfront issues with the playground equipment, which we will address way before the event, and so those things will be taken care of as well.
On the 4th of July, or I know did they get asked to help, or they volunteered, or are you still taking volunteers, because I would like to be involved.
Oh, please come.
I would love for you to be involved.
And I would like, I'm always ousted, I'm just a child.
I was gonna come and ask you.
We can volunteer you right now, don't worry.
I don't need to.
Who's jealous?
You were already on my list to talk to, but
Yeah.
before you left.
Let me, I can tell you how they ended up in the committee. They were there and I asked them, would you like to meet, because they were there. And so, the more the merrier.
Yeah, me too,
It'd be great.
I miss it every year because I'm on the state, so.
Don't forget to talk to your friends, businesses. We need sponsorships, please. Fireworks are not cheap,
Yeah,
so.
and of course, the CDC approved as every year, the funding, at least 50% of the cost of fireworks, which is $20,000. They've already approved and we provided the down payment, which is 10. And then hopefully because of the sponsors, we'll be crazy other 10. But if for some reason we don't have, the CDC will cover whatever gap there still is.
That's nice.
Yeah, and actually it was a unanimous vote by the CDC, very, very positive. I was joking around because one of the.
Yes.
Okay.
They will.
But
They're
they're-
developers for sure.
Yes.
I'm sure would like to.
As you're aware, this is one of the reasons why we don't have the financial report. We're doing an assessment of the financial management of the system. And we should have a complete assessment and recommendations for you by the the July meeting. We're still fighting things even right now, literally right now, that need to be addressed. And all of this will be addressed and we will we will take care of those things and then, the system then, will be improved and it'll be obviously good, but it'll be easier to keep track, and especially for the council to have good financial reports that are accurate. You know, personal items, they kind of go hand in hand. The proposed job descriptions, the personal structure, and the cost for the changes that we will recommend, again, in time by the July meeting, for your consideration. We'll also address those issues, which is part of the financial thing. So together, we will be able to put that major situation back in place and behind us. Upcoming major tasks, the addressing lack of written and or updated standard operating procedures. In my meetings, you know, off and on with staff, there are lots of times that our staff, especially police, you know, that sometimes they have to make decisions as they're doing things, and unfortunately, they don't have written procedures that would make their job easier and keep themselves from getting into trouble or doing something that they shouldn't have done, simply because there's no written guidance. And that's what that's the next project. That will be for, hopefully by August, we can take care of that as well. So that's my report for right now. If you have any questions, please, I would love to answer it.
Thank you for all the hard work, you and all the team of the town.
Yes. You've been tasked with a bigger job than you thought it were.
It's been very gratifying.
That's a good word.
Item 12, adjournment.
The motion to adjourn.
Motion by Councilor Bryant, seconded by Councilmember Dr. Romero to adjourn.
Councilmember Romero? Yes. Councilmember Howard?
Yes.
Councilmember Pettis? Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Mayor Carter?
Yes. Thank you guys for showing up. Good luck on your future competition.